Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. In the previous classes we discussed about certain topics of electrochemistry. Now we will start to learn about the electrolytic cell and the electrolysis process. In all the previous concepts what we were explained was we took two different electrodes made up of two different metals and immersed those electrodes in two different solutions which is interconnected by an electrolytic wire and a salt bridge. But now, whenever you consider for an electrolytic cell, what we are doing over here is we are bringing about a chemical change using an external current. In the previous topics, we used the chemical energy to convert them into electrical energy. Now, we are using the electrical energy to convert them into a chemical reaction. So what happens when you are considering for an electrolytic cell? Let us say I am taking a beaker of solution, let us say a copper sulfate solution, CuSO4 solution, which I have taken here. Okay. When you take a copper sulfate solution and you immerse two electrodes made up of copper itself, but the variation is one of the electrode is a pure copper metal and the other electrode being an impure copper ore. Okay. So now I am going to take one electrode on the left hand side and one electrode on the right hand side. Both are immersed in the same beaker of solution. Okay, so this the negative end called the cathode electrode, and this being the positive end the called anode electrode. Okay, when these are interconnected with one another to an external source of current, what happens is what happens in this reaction? In this reaction, we observe the impure copper metal which is present in the ore. The impure copper metal which is present in the ore gets dissolved inside the solution. So if you say for the reaction happening at the anode, what we are observing is the copper which is present in the metal ore, the copper which was present in the metal ore will be gaining electron. So where did it get electron from? That is nothing but the solution. If you consider for the solution over here, Cu2 plus with SO4 2 minus, that is what it is formed by, right? Cu2 plus cations, SO4 2 minus anion. The Cu2 plus cations will be losing electron. That is, Cu2 plus loses or Cu2 plus gains electron to form Cu. That means the Cu2 plus which was present in the solution will be gaining electron. So where did the electron for that come from? That is coming from the negative end of the battery. Okay, so the negative electrons move from the negative end to the cathode, where the Cu2 plus ion present in the solution acquires those electrons and get deposited on the cathode electrode. Now, since there is a deficiency of Cu2 plus inside the solution, the pure copper metal which was present in the impure strip of anode will lose electron to form Cu2 plus. Okay, the impure metal copper strip observes a reaction where the pure metal present in the strip dissolves inside the solution by losing an electron. So it is losing two electrons and two electrons will be provided at the positive end of the battery. So clearly we have a closed circuit where we observe a movement of current in the direction of positive end to the negative end and movement of electron in the opposite end to that of the direction of current. So this type of reaction is called the electrolytic reaction, where we are bringing about a chemical change using external current. Okay, so what happening over here is at anode copper is undergoing oxidation and at cathode copper 2 plus ions is undergoing reduction to form copper. So in this particular method what we are clearly observing is we are purifying impure copper metal strip by considering it as an anode and dipping the same anode in the same solution where we have already immersed pure metal strip of copper. So we observe that the impure strip which had some copper in it will be completely purified and will get accumulated on the cathode strip. Thus, we can purify certain metals such as copper, magnesium, sodium, aluminum, etc. So, this is what the electrolytic cells are used for. Whenever you use an external source of electric current to an electrolysis process of purification of certain metals from converting them to impure form to a pure form, we call the particular process is called electrolytic process. So here in this case of copper sulfate, we are using copper sulfate solution of copper. But if we consider for magnesium and sodium, we observe the chloride salts of magnesium and chlorine, magnesium and sodium for the purification. Right? That is, if you use for purification of magnesium and sodium, we use magnesium chloride salt and sodium chloride salt solution respectively. Okay, we'll be using magnesium and sodium in their metallic salt representatives. Whereas if you consider for aluminium, aluminium is taken in the form of its respective oxide Al2O3 in the form of cryolite to being then from the bauxite ore to extract the pure aluminium metal. Okay, so this is how we use this particular process of electrolysis. But how do we come across this particular process of electrolysis and its application? That is by the help of a scientist named Faraday. Faraday, when he was studying certain reactions of chemical changes, he observed that a metal being accumulated on a different electrode when we compare to the metal strip or the metal solution taken in the beaker of solutions. Therefore, what he said was, he gone through certain studies of the particular reaction where he completely studied those electrolysis process and published 2 laws which explains the electrolysis process of metal from its metal electrolyte solution. It may be a molten electrolyte solution or it may be a normal solution. So what he said was, whenever you consider for a metal and dipped in a metal electrolyte solution, being taken as a cathode and an anode, metal gets accumulated from one electrode to the other electrode on passing electric current. This particular phenomenon can be explained by 2 laws which are called the Faraday's first law of electrolysis and Faraday's second law of electrolysis. So for the first law of electrolysis, he said that whenever you observe a chemical reaction in an electrolytic solution, so the amount of chemical reaction happening when passing in electric current to an electrolytic process of electrode. That is, if you consider this as an electrode, the amount of chemical reaction happening in this particular electrode of an electrolysis process is directly proportional to the amount of current passed through the electrolyte. That is, let us say, write down the laws itself. The first law, the amount of chemical reaction taking place at an electrode in electrolysis is directly proportional to the amount of current passed through the electrolyte. So this is the first law of electrolysis of Faraday. It says that the amount of chemical reaction which is happening at the electrode of an electrolysis process is directly proportional to the amount of current which we are passing through the particular electrolyte. So this is about the first law of electrolysis. where we observe that if you consider for a chemical reaction, on passing electric current through an electrode, it results in the chemical changes. So the amount of change of chemical reaction which we observe in the chemical process on passing electric current will be depending upon the amount of current which is passed through the particular electrolyte. This is the first law. And for the second law, he says that if you consider two different electrolytes of two different metal solution, then the amount of chemicals liberated, if you consider for two different electrolytes of metals, let us say M1, M2. On passing electric current, they will be liberated depending upon the number of mass it has. So therefore, in the second law, Faraday stated that the amount of chemical liberated in a respective electrolyte of a metal or a molten solution will be directly proportional to the chemical equivalent weight of that particular metal which we are using. If you are using certain metal of low electrochemical weight, then it will be liberated in a lower order. If you have a higher equivalent weight of a metal, then the particular metal will be liberated in a higher order. So the second law states that the amount of chemicals liberated will be proportional to the equivalent weight of the chemical. Okay, so this is about the second law. That is, the amount of chemical liberated will be proportional to the equivalent weight of the chemical which we are using. So these are the two particular laws which were stated by Faraday in order to explain the electrolysis in electrolytic solutions. Next is, if you consider for an electrolyte, so the equation of this particular Faraday's statement of equation 1 and 2 can be given as Q is equal to I into T. The equation 1 and 2 in a simpler way can be given by a mathematical expression as Q is equal to I into T, where Q is called the charge of electric current. Q is called the charge whose units is coulombs. C. I is current whose units is amperes denoted by A, and T is time in seconds. Okay, so this is about the mathematical expression of Faraday's laws of electrolysis. Now, if you consider for an electrolysis process, let us say Ag plus gaining one electron to form Ag. Okay, let us say Ag plus ion is gaining one electron to form Ag. Then what we observe is 1 mole of electrons can be used for reducing 1 mole of silver ions, right? For 1 mole of silver ion used, in order to get reduced, we need to supply 1 mole of electron. Therefore, what we can say is, if 1 mole of electron is used for 1 mole of silver ion, the amount of total charge used can be calculated as Q is equal to charge of 1 electron into total number of electrons used. So charge of 1 electron is 1.602 into 10 power minus 19, right? Charge of 1 electron is 1.602 into 10 power minus 19. And number of moles. So 1 mole of electron is used. So therefore, now 1 mole of electron contains 6.022 into 10 power 23 electron, right? So therefore, 6.022 into 10 power 23. On multiplying these two, we get the value 96,487 coulombs per mole. 96,487 coulombs per mole. That means if you supply a charge of 96,487 coulombs per mole, then it liberates, or that means it might oxidize or it might reduce 1 mole of ions. So if you supply 96,487 coulombs of energy, coulombs of charge, then it can liberate a particular atom or ion. Okay, so if you use 96,487 charges of electron here, Ag plus can be reduced to Ag. That means Ag can be liberated as Ag. So this is about the minimum charge of 1 mole. This particular value is called Faraday's constant of electrolysis. This is called the Faraday's constant, noted by the symbol F. For mathematical calculation purposes, instead of writing 96,487, we round it off for 96,500 coulombs per mole. Faraday's constant F is taken as 96,500 coulombs per mole. So this is the charge which we have to supply in order to liberate 1 mole of ions. If you consider for a reaction of Mg2 plus with 2 electrons forming Mg, here Mg requires 2 Faradays of charge. Okay, Mg requires 2 Faradays of charge. That is because when you supply 2 moles of electron, then only it can liberate 1 mole of Mg2 plus as Mg. If you consider for Al3 plus, it requires 3 electrons for 1 liberation. Therefore, when you supply 3 Faradays of charge to Al3 plus, it will get liberated as Al. Okay, so this is about the Faraday's explanation regarding the charge separation. So what is the complete use of this reaction is, whenever you consider for the particular metal ion to get liberated, we need to supply certain amount of energy in the form of electron. That energy is called the Faraday's constant value, that is 96,500 coulombs per 1 mole of ion to get liberated. If you consider for this particular reaction, we are using 2 electrons for 1 mole of 1 atom of 1 ion of Mg2 plus. Therefore, we need to supply 2 Faradays. If you consider for Al3 plus, we are using 3 Faradays. Similarly, if you consider for a industrial purpose, if you have to liberate iron, okay, in a bulkier order, where we use 50,000 amperes of current. Here we use 50,000 amperes of current, which is equal to 0.518 Faradays of charge. Okay, 0.518 Faradays of charge. This is about the Faraday's electrolytic cells and electrolysis. Next, in the class, we'll continue this particular topic with certain problems and an additional concept also. I hope you have understood this particular concepts of Faraday's laws. In the next class, we'll discuss more. If you have understood this concept, please do subscribe to my channel and share this video among your friends. Thank you for watching.